Just with the right whistle.
Okay, we're going here. Did you want to be on video or no?
I don't care, man.
Just audio? Okay, who is this here?
My name is Albiet Sol Wakush.
That's a mouthful.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm not even going to try to repeat that.
My name, it's White Love in Soto.
Okay.
I'm
Cree from Northern Ontario.
I know how you guys are. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. I'm Soto. Straight Soto. Life, not living.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyways, a long time ago, there was this beautiful man. His name was Aman. That was Jesus Christ's original child.
Let me just, sorry to interrupt you, but just so you guys know, I'm just editing up what I'm doing here and finding out what I'm going to do before I park the charge at the government building. And he just comes over and asks for a light. Now he's sitting in here and we're having a chat. So neither one of us, he goes, you want to know a story? So we're going to chat because we're old souls here that fucking know how it goes. So sorry to interrupt you, man.
But anyways, so for all you out there that know where the mind was, it's almost like Mars, but it's a little bit more brown. Anyways, oh man, I miss those trees. Anyways, so there was this man. They called him Sin, but what happened was he was a dead axion. They kind of look like little rabbits, but you guys just don't see those branches yet. So, anywhoots, what happened was a long time ago, this man named Aman, his first child, he flew. So he wondered why he flew. But what happened was he made him fall to the sands. This is the story I'm going to tell you. What leads up to the Opal Tunnel story of Pearls Before Swine. The first story written in the Holy Bible.
Keep talking, man.
And so, anywhoots, the person...
My son is part of it all, right? So I praise my son, right? Sorry.
So, the story begins with Solomon. They say Solomon was different from all of life. This is where it began. What happened was this child, this newborn, knowing that he would survive, he gave up his only life to the person. And what was left was a little rift bubble that the First Nations people, that they loved, they called it soul. It was a little rock. This is where it begins. So, this man named Aman, he was born after the war from the mind, when it was split into 6. That was the old world. It was one world and one sun. We had one moon. That was all that was in the solar system. And what happened was there was this giant war. Maj went against her husband. They had a war, an all-out war. Their only child was the one that survived. And what happened was this. After the child survived, there was one newborn out there that survived. We called her Nanabush. They were the only 2 people left on the world. And what happened, being a newborn spirit, she never lived. She never lived. This is where Solomon's story begins. It's when he actually meets himself. So, after the eons of walking, this person named Soul, and this person named, oh man, I'm not going to say her name, but anywho.
I say anywho all
her
the
name's,
time.
Ariel. Yeah. Her name's Ariel, is what, right? But anyways, Nanabush, she was a very powerful shapeshifter. What happened was, she gave birth to a child, one child. They're on the world called the Earth, whereas the mind was on the other half of the universe. She gave birth to one child, and when she let the child live, because she was spiritual, so was the baby that was inside of her. Mm-hmm. The child was gonna grow up to be like the father, but what happened was, they left love behind, because, right? What happens after you have it, right? You have sex. And she left a little baby, being spiritually there. It floated, and it just stayed there. It's a little blue bubble. And they walked away afterwards. Nobody knew about this, but he stayed in the exact same spot. The only person that knew was the father to that child. What happened was, that little bubble, a little tiny grain of sand, it looked blue. Not cyan blue, but it looked a nice light blue-white. And it slowly grew. It almost looked like a freaking, I don't know, one of those little orbs that you see that are upside down. But it grew. It spiritually grew. And at one moment, this man named Solomon, when he fell and he walked from half the world, Nevada, like the U.S. Nevada, he walked up to the tops of the trees. And as he was walking through the forest, he saw what looked like a grain of sand. Because of who he was, he didn't know. But what that little rift bubble was somebody trying to get back his son. And this is what happens. He didn't understand what he's seen. But when he touched it, when he touched this little rift bubble, it was about that big. It turned into a rock and it spoke to him. And it said, "You will never destroy me." And at that moment, Creator, he made him fall. He made him fall, and he hit those sands. He walked until he made it back. And the dark side, where the mind fell to, the other half, it's the black hole. Because when you make something, what's the best thing to take? The darkness, right? Because when you collapse it, it makes light. So anyway, continuing on the story. The mind, it was stuck. That's what we called the old world. It was giant. It was massive. It was what it was the heliocentric solar system.
Yeah.
The world was so large that it actually it held the weight of the sun, and it was what was rotating. It's the old world, scary place. Don't ever go there. Scary place.
Worse than this fucking reality.
Yeah, word. Anyway.
You know what? I say that this is hell, actually, and I can't wait to get back to...
Don't get your guys yourself stuck in infinite.
No doubt, eh?
But anyways,
yeah.
The newborn child that was trying to come back, knowing himself, he knew the world. So, what happened was, as he waited, he watched... And he saw that Solomon was a changed man from when he hit those sands. Because that's the person that actually wrote the Bible. He took every word from his parents and he remembered them. Like what he was told from that rock. When it hit the ground, that's what he was told. He was like, "You'll be just like me. That's the only way I'm going to forgive you." So, as he walked and made it through time, he walked into life from spiritual to real. He made himself real. He never realized that. That's why this world... It has a voice of its own.
Mother Gaia, yes, yes. I talk about the Schumann a lot. If you look at the world stage events, and that's a reflection of us. I mean, the Mother Gaia puts out the resonance of, it's the heartbeat, they say, of the planet, which most people don't even acknowledge is alive as well. But yeah, right now we're getting spikes, and like our sun is about to puke out its divine birthright to. I'm gonna destroy the world one day, man. I'll jump from that sun to the earth. Yeah. Well, we're at that time now where we're getting back to where we came from. We've been kind of trapped here for who knows how long, right? until I get them back. Yeah. But yeah, no, just not to interrupt you, but yeah, that's one of the things I talk about a lot, and a lot of people are confused about is the spikes and the Schumann. Well, that's a reflection of the planet, us, and our sun, and the whole universe and the larger cycle. Actually, most of this world, due to your guys' satellites, it gives off its own frequency, and when you hit the right wavelength, you can actually grow a rock. You can make it with the right whistle. Yeah. With alchemy and stuff like that too. Yeah, to make a phosphorus stone, you burn 3 rocks together to make 1 rock, and then you boil another 2, and you combine the 3. Yeah. And well, true masters can do stuff like that just by thought, right? Like alchemy or whatever. But I mean, it's like that Matrix scene. How do you bend the spoon? Well, I realize the spoon isn't even there. Or it's like, how did this world is destroyed. Yeah, how did they move those big rocks? They must have had fancy tools. Well, once you realize you're one with the rock, the size and the shape of the rock matters not, right? Really, exactly. I mean, once you're in the frequency of that rock, you can pretty much you're one with it, right? Did you know the frequency of soul is 713 decibels underneath the freaking. So reversed, right? It's not on the top wavelength. It's at the bottom. So below. That's what you noticed on the car first. Yes, correct. Yeah. So this is the story of as above, so below. That's who I'm speaking about. Yeah. So I just want to give a quick recap beforehand, so I don't get in shit if anybody actually knows it, other than me that knows this shit. Yeah.
So,
sorry, I try to. I'm not trying to interrupt you, but this ties in with a lot of the stuff I've been trying to say, and everybody thinks I'm fucking crazy for. Because as I'm going out the fucking door here, parking the charge. But yeah, I might do that. I actually interrupt a lot because I don't get out much, and I'm he who stands alone, right? So that's my spirit name, if you can believe that shit.
Actually, I can. I can.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what happens is, as Solomon, as he hits the sand, he still walks with this rock, because what happened was, as the dead Axion lived, that's what a grain of sand is. It looks like a little demon bubble. Yeah. Like, it looks like a little thing with horns and little freaking rocks inside of it. Okay. But they're see-through rocks. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So, that was the very first rabbit. He looked like a rabbit. He got buried on a frequency for it. But what happened was, the child, the little Axion didn't hang on. He let the person live, because he woke up and he wasn't himself. He just woke up and he was alive. So what happened was, he heard this word at the back of his mind say, meditate. And as he looked at his body, he was young. He was a baby. When he let go, he grew to a person within a moment's notice. And he looked at his own father and he said, I'm sorry I tried to destroy you in the womb. Because he threw a fireball at that little rock. And when that little newborn woke up on the spiritual side, that's who touched him. His name was Solomon. That's the story of the little bubble I'm about to tell you. And Solomon with Mary Magdalena.
And Mary, my ex-wife, his name is Maria Teresa. My daughter was born on December 23rd. I had my activation pulse, communicating with the sun the next day. The 23 that my friend Teresa lives at.
I don't even know, but...
No, I'm just saying, the 23, the Maria Teresa's, and you're talking about Mary Magdalene. It all plays into what I'm going through as my awakening. But
scary tunnel. Scary fucking tunnel.
But now you're talking about Mary Magdalene and all these things, right? So that's kind of tying into my story, right?
I take him as my brother.
Yeah. Yeah, but sorry, but yeah, no, I just wanted to tell you the correlations with the Maria Teresa and the biblical references with the 23 and my astrological numbers too. But sorry, go ahead.
So anyways.
Mary Magdalene, you were saying?
Mary Magdalena. She was...
Magdalena.
Yeah, she was like Nana Bush. She was exactly like Nana Bush. Mm-hmm. So, this is the story I'm going to tell you. This is the story of Solomon, Mary Magdalena. Not Nana Bush, but Christ. Christ. That's Amon.
Amon.
Yeah, Amon. He calls himself Christ. And then there's Solomon. Then there's Jesus.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Those are the beginning of the first generations from the Cree people. Correct?
The which?
The Cree people.
Cree?
Yeah, Cree people.
Yeah. See, I'm a concrete Indian, so none of my family has... I mean, even the elders I've come across from BC to here, and the one guy said, you're light years ahead of them. You're not going to get help finding this spiritual shit out. Because half of them are indoctrinated from the residential schools. Right? And even the elders that call themselves elders don't know their arse from a fucking hole in the ground. Really.
Man, you know something? We love stories.
Well, that's been taken away from us. This 7th generation I've got written all over my car that's directly related to the residential schools. That was the whole purpose of that, because the masters running this fucking place knew of our power, and the mission was to destroy us and right from the get-go.
We're talking about that war. Yeah, we're talking about that war.
No, I'm just saying, but the 7 generations thing ties into the residential schools and losing of the story, losing of the knowledge, because most of this stuff was verbal. We didn't really write it down, right? It was passed on to people like you, and not many people would even know a story like this.
Oh, hell no, man. I grew up in social care. Like, I grew up a concrete Indian.
And then where did you hear all this from? Where did you hear all this?
I just know it.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of. This is what I mean. I
was born like this, man.
Internally, I kind of know, but it's like I don't, because I was raised like by whatever indoctrinations and whatnot. But I mean, I might have known that. Maybe that's why I was a rebel hellion all my life, because I fucking knew what you knew, but I've never articulated it until I met you. Sorry. Go ahead.
So, anyways,
I'm a bastard, eh? Shut your pie hole.
The pearls before swine. What happens is, right? Never show your pearls off to swine, Because a pig, he'll try to eat them.
No doubt. Pigs are
That's
pigs.
gross. Yeah. That's gross. They'll end up with white on their mouth. So that's why. That's why.
What did I do with my smokes? Here, hold that for a sec. I got smokes over here.
So the story begins on Mars. You know why Mars looks like an eye? Because if y'all want to see heaven, you're all going at once. Did you ever forget this? So, it starts on Mars, back on the old world. Well, before this world. The mine was a long time ago. Yes, please. Thank you. So, this is after the mine. This is called, right? This is called the war, the weight, right? The weight of a war is the story.
Yeah.
This is the story of how one man.
Where did that yellow one go? Yellow lighter. You didn't grab my yellow one, did you? Or a lime green one?
I believe that's it.
No, there was a lime green one.
I actually don't believe I grabbed the lighter.
Always. Go ahead.
I didn't want a lighter.
Go ahead. No, there was a fucking lime green one. This one here is about dead. Probably here somewhere.
I don't know, it seems to work.
No, it does, but I just bought a new one because this one's about done. Go ahead.
So, the story goes like this. Solomon, he never gave birth to any children, and he always wondered why. He walked, and he walked, and he walked, until one day, Creator actually gave him a wife. And what happened was, she looked at him, and she said, you have to meet yourself, you want to be yourself. You have to know, you have to understand who you are. That's what Mary Magdalena, that's what she said to Solomon. And as Solomon, being a newborn, he didn't understand the way the world worked. He was walking on Mars, a barren planet. And this is what happens. After secondary succession on Mars, he walked and he walked and he found a tunnel because he was life. There's a huge difference. When you're handed fire, you're handed something that's eternal. You can never destroy those fires because you know where they come from. They come from the dark. After it's made, internally it leaves a fire that'll never perish. And to make sure a world doesn't go dark the way the old world did, how it was spiritually real, it's because that fire, it was still alive in the center of the earth. It was torturous because it was spiritually real. It was made just like how the Babylonians, when they were handed down that tablet and they learned how to make a world their own, and they were told to walk. This is how old my own spirit is. Yeah. That's Maja's story. Her husband's further than that.
See, this ties into a lot of people. Like I'm probably linked to. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm linked to the tablets, and there's Tara, what I thought was my twin, which I think was evil. Well, 747 in the Kabbalah is beast, but a lot of my followers follow the whole Emerald tablets. Thoth, like I got Chikatet Alitzval on here, which is Thoth. Emerald tablets it's kind of stuff I've learned since my activation, but they talk about the fallen, the Anunnakis and the Nibiru and all. It's kind of all tied in.
How the people of Enoch fucking literally just walked in from literally nothing into life.
Yeah,
the people of Enoch.
Yeah, and we were here long before that.
Yeah, and First Nations people. We sat. This
back. Is what I told you, Penny. Like you're talking 250,000 years. I'm talking millions. I'm thinking
eons.
Yeah.
You know
See, confirmed.
I grew up in foster care. Nobody raised me. I raised myself on the streets of Regina.
Wow. Meeting you right now. I've been praying for someone to come along to help me learn, and that I could help, and that could help me. Wow. There's your confirmation right there, Penny.
So, if you know the story of Pearls Before Swine, when Solomon walked through Mars and he hit what was called Noah's Ark, what it was actually the ancient Egyptian people speaking of how this little boat walked. You walked from one end of the boat to the other, and you woke up at the end of a circle. So this is what
the one you're leaning up against there behind you.
Actually, no.
The medicine wheel.
No, close.
Yeah.
But anyways, at the center of every world across this entire galaxy, it's called the Dark Side Creations, and what it was a child, one tooth.
Mm-hmm.
He was thrown into a rock. Spiritually. This is how they meet. When the dead Axion, Solomon, met Soul, the person, spirit that was turned into a rock because he got pissed and he attempted to destroy another world. This is how they meet. As Solomon walked to Mars, after it was destroyed, not from Soul, but from Christ, because him too, he learned from Soul. What happened was he destroyed the place so that it wouldn't happen. And what was to come. This is why our timeline, it's in its perfect moment. No matter how much someone tries to destroy it, it's in its moment. I'm even placed in my own moment. I'm here spiritually. I've already died, but I'm physically in front of you. You see me on the camera.
I talk about that all the time. We died to learn how to live again.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And what happened was, it was actually Solomon.
The illusion of time and death and life. And,
Yeah, Solomon, being that newborn that survived, he walked. And as he walked Mars, he found this tunnel. And as he went through it, this little rock at the center of every world, they say it looks like a blue sapphire. It's not a blue sapphire. It's so clear that it sees through the waters of the world and the waters of life that were first placed there, because it was that same very rock that started the center of the world again. What happened was, after his spirit was thrown into that rock from Jesus himself, he said, "You'll meet yourself." And as it went, I'm keeping this on both sides so that you understand both sides of the story in the moment. Keep that in mind. So, as Solomon walked Mars, he found this tunnel because he found this little grain of sand just floating there. Just permanently there, stuck in its moment. Just permanently there. Because Mary Magdalena, she wasn't there yet. And he walked. And all he heard from the rock was meditate. And as he meditated, all he saw were glimpses of blue, green, white images of the world around him and what was to become. And that's what we call the Bible today. So, this is what the little rock told him. Believe it, you'll see me. And he kept walking. He found this tunnel. And he said, "How do I light the tunnel? It's dark." I said, "Wait until the light shines. You'll have less than 3 hours to make it from the beginning to where you'll first see that rock that glows." And as he went in, after that light hit, he looked down. And all he saw was this little tiny grain of light. And he walked in. Next thing you know, he walked for 2.5 hours and he saw that. Roughly, he saw that. Still holding that rock spiritually. Because he didn't know he was meditating. Still sitting there on Mars.
Like a bad acid trip or something, eh?
Exactly.
Well, we won't say LSD because that's a synthetically made, man-made, fucking primitive man-made 3D thing. But how about some peyote or some fucking ayahuasca or some shit, right? You know, do some astral traveling and whatnot.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, no, they say that you can do that. With,
don't do it. He'll turn you into a rock if he catches you.
Okay, there's that. And now I know why I didn't do it. No, but then all kidding aside, they do say it is a very spiritual thing, but if you're not in the right mindset, you could be like you're talking.
Yeah, man. You know something?
You gotta be in the right purpose for it. It's like these people that do the pendulums. This is kind of how the fall happened. They invoked these things thinking they could do it better than Source, Son of Man, and now we're kind of stuck here, killing each other for all the things that
why?
We've lost our fucking ways and then some, right? And then guys like you and I that come and try and show the way. Look at us.
No, we're
living it. You're homeless. I'm going right with you.
They should already know. That's why.
It's all within. It's all within.
They should already know. That's what my ancestors. That's what they taught me. I raised myself. Nobody taught me any of this. No stories. No nothing.
Well, would you agree with me on this statement? And I'm not saying it in a who's better than what way. That the majority of the population here, at the very least, are young souls they've come here to. This is where they come to learn, and
Yes.
and we're just kind of fucking plopped in here to show them the way, and then we end up looking like this, down and out, isolated, beat down.
You know why? You know why? You gotta realize we only got half a world. We only got half a world. Think about the other half. Think about past the U.S. Why they're not themselves. This is the top half of Mother Earth, the original from the old world, when it was huge, when it was scary. They say that world, it was built with nothing but pure energy from Creator himself, nothing but a rock, a pure rock. And what happened was, he looked at his son and he said, all you need is lichen, because he made life.
Yeah.
He was banished for that. And that's the beginning of Jesus' people. They were Cree.
Wow.
You know why?
Wow.
Somebody from the Soto tribe, he saw the beauty in Jesus and his people to come. So what happened was this. They were given what they were needed, and they walked. And he made their own, beyond our own. That's why they say we're buried in a frequency, because they'll always watch us. They'll always make sure we're ourselves, because they know we destroy ourselves. So,
yeah, it's an evolution. I call it the 3D Earth School, but I mean, well, it is really. I mean, even through all the hell that we've been through, and I've been through the last whatever,
Man,
I realized
was scary.
I realized that we chose it, right? In the tunnel,
Yeah. So Amon's father, his name, Jesus Christ. You'll never learn his name. It's Herod, but Herod gave birth to Amon. Amon gave birth to Solomon. Solomon gave birth to so forth and so on. You know the beginning of the Bible. Real names. Be warned. I'm here. So, as time went on, after Herod rebuilt the temples in Jerusalem, that's the fall, because Solomon, the original Solomon, right? Because Solomon, he gave up his own name for his only child, because he killed him in the womb. And who saw that? But the person that watches the womb, his name is Soul. So, as time begins, what this child learned was that he'll live again, but it costs one thing: to never touch the back of the mind. What it is you will see yourself in darkness, and you're sitting there meditating with nothing but a rock in front of you. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You know why? It's a trap. It's for a spirit that got trapped.
Yeah.
Because that's what they used to do. They used to trap spirits inside of those rocks. That's what they would do. They'd sit there, they'd be like, and turn them into a rock. Yeah. That's what they would do.
I could see that.
Eons ago.
Yeah.
When life was life, and there was no difference between living and life.
Yeah, the infinite, the 5D, where we're heading back to. We're returning to that now in the new age.
I don't think we're heading that way.
You don't?
No.
Why is that?
I don't think we're heading that way.
You've kind of given up hope?
No, I see it. I see it for what it is. And Jesus is already where he needs to be. He's in the future, as they say. As our ancestors, they say he was in the future. And he'll always send them back to the past.
So this is the ages.
This is the fall. This is where it divides. You don't go backwards, nor do you go forwards from this moment. It is earned. And the people from that last generation, that fire, from the First Nations people, this is what they were warned about. That the last generation, from Soto, Cree, Dene, Stu, and Ojibwe, that the last generation, the 8th generation, they would be stolen
and taken from here.
And they would be taken from this world spiritually. They'll wake up on a new world
and be where we need to be, and the rest of them can keep learning here.
Yeah,
and the rest of them can keep learning.
Exactly.
Wow, Penny. What was I just saying the other day? You silly humans out there hearing this? Yeah.
Remember, there's a difference between humans, creatures, human beings. Yeah. I know the difference. Humans, you have 34 teeth. 34. Remember that. Life, 32.
This goes into the genetics, too, of the 23rd strand, 24th that was removed that I talk about now. I don't know I mean, this is when we felt like our genetics were changed, probably by the fall.
Are we talking about genome here? If we're talking about that, let's go back to why.
Yeah. No, this is getting deep, and we're already at 30 minutes here, but we'll run it until I run out of data. I'm going to have to go to the Wi-Fi hole to upload this one, because I'm still parking this fucking car down at the thing, and the way you're making it sound...
Right, it's keeping it right in time. The
way you're making it sound is fuck them all.
Like I lived it.
Let them fucking deal with their own shot, and let's go home, buddy.
Exactly. I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
And
you know what? It's so fucking funny that you come and meet me as above, so below, right as I'm saying my goodbyes to fucking YouTube and all of you ungrateful humans. Pretty much. You don't deserve it. So, wow, have I been so bitter too? Just like you.
You do. You deserve this, man. Yeah. You know why?
Wow.
You'll get back. I don't know how the hell I woke up, but I was never supposed to wake up. I caused the world to split into six.
It's a curse, man. Mm-hmm. It's a curse. Remembering, you know.
No,
I've been beating, and
it's a gift.
Well, I've been beating my head against the wall, fucking with these YouTube channels for fucking 4+ years now, man.
Really?
Probably 30, 40 grand. Fucking attacked, censored.
You know something? They can't stop this. It'll play past that frequency. Do you guys like how it's a dream? This is why.
This is why it hurts like fuck, because we're remembering, and the rest of you are just like,
Half the world is only awake. You know why? If you walk to the other half of the world where that Tibetan tablet is, that half the world's more alive than this half.
That's why I say the ages always move west, like my sun sets on the back of the car, because the west fucked the pooch basically this time around, and the next age is the east, and it's always been about the east. Who have we always been after? China, Russia. I've been saying this forever now. Who does the west always want to destroy? The ancient knowledge is in the east, pretty much.
No, actually.
No?
The ancient knowledge...
Well, it's here. It's everywhere. But when you look at West versus East, as far as us over here in Canada, like what it's become is what I'm talking about. You're talking about the Tibetans and the wars over there. And there's more ancient knowledge, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the fall of Lebanon, Tibetan.
Yeah.
And then the Sumerian, not the Egyptians, the Sumerian people were what came through when they were speaking to the freaking animals. Yeah. Sumerian.
Oh, you should see me with the animals, man. Yeah. I can bring them in with
Yeah, exactly. That's Sumerian. Yeah. The ones who spoke to the animals are Sumerian, not ancient Egyptians. Huge difference. Everybody got to realize that.
Yeah. It's like the Jew thing. Like, what's a Jew and a Khazarian? The real Jews are actually the Palestinians. The more so the Palestinians than they are the bankers that are running this whole now.
Ancient Cree ran out a long time ago. Wake up, people. There ain't no Soto or Cree left on the world.
Well, no. That was part of the residential schools and all that. They breed us out. We're savages. Cut our hair off, steal our language, throw us in the fucking church school and indoctrinate us and rape us and kill us and steal our genetics. This shit's still going on. The missing woman thing. Annette, hello. Experiments. Endocrine. What have I been saying? Right?
So, exactly.
You know what I mean? We're the original peoples. They like eating us. They like eating all of your children, actually. But, sorry, I digress.
Actually, a little bit. But anywho, this is for Solomon or anybody.
You know, it's sad that we're laughing about this, really. But isn't it disgusting,
I hope you guys hear this. That deal of keeping this moment in its moment, it's forever. You can never go to the past. I'll never go to the future.
So and you know what? Everybody says the now moment, yeah, but how do you fucking live with that when you know so many will die today? Even though you know those people made their karmic contracts.
Do you know why? Because I go backwards. They'll live again.
I know that too, but the suffering for what though? And all we got to do is find that 100th fucking monkey. I've been beating my head against the wall forever.
What suffering? People make themselves suffer.
Well, I know it's karma, but I mean ignorant.
It's not karma.
Yeah, but the ignorance of all this stuff that the West lets do is letting the suffering continue. It's a loop, though, that doesn't need to be, is my point. Right?
I love this loop, to be honest. That's why it's so much deja vu. But none of you will realize why there's so much deja vu. How come this deja vu, wasn't there like an extra one of us? You guys will never understand that. Those people, they don't come back. They're special.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna be coming back for this.
No, we're done here for sure. This will be our last trip here,
Yep.
I think.
Yep. Last trip on this world. This world's called the womb.
Yeah.
This is the X genome.
Yeah.
So this is for anybody out there that understands. So as he continues walking and he makes it, he finds this one part of the cave, and he drops that little rock. And what happens is, as he dropped that rock, he dropped too. Spiritually, he wasn't spiritual anymore. He was real life. And what happened was, he ran out of oxygen. And when he fell, the only thing he held on to was that little rock. And he holds it like this, at the back of nothing. The bottom of freaking nothing. It's still there. It looks like a purplish black rock sitting at the back of nothing. So, as he continued through this walk, and he dropped, what happened was, that little rock being alive, he saw what happened. And he gave him what was left. Because what was inside that rock was a little rift bubble. A little blue fucking bubble. It survived because it saw itself through time. All due to one person saving himself.
Yeah, service to self. Yeah.
And what happens is, this little rock, knowing it, he saves the only child out of that family tree. And this is how people come to be on this world. And as he walked, he saw through. He thinks he understands the shadow, but he doesn't. That's Albert. That story on the Book of Demons. That's one of all 7. His name's Albert. So,
you know what?
Huge difference.
You know
huge
what?
difference.
You know what? As I'm going out here, I'll maybe re-record the rest of it, but I gotta take a leak, and we're at 36 minutes here. As the old teaching said, this was all verbal. And hold that thought. Maybe write it down. Write that down where you ended off there, because we're gonna continue this. I gotta take a leak. Go grab us a coffee. Okay. Maybe some fucking breakfast.
Don't worry, I have an identity.
Okay, well, I can go back and look, but I'm gonna upload this. Hey, what do you say we be homeless in Regina together, buddy? I'm going to park this fucking car down at the government building and walk away. And you guys, Penny, we'll keep in touch. But yeah, I'd already decided what I was going to do last night. And what you're saying to me right now, man, we're already in flux. We're already on the verge of going home. So
yeah, every verge you got to realize.
I'm kind of done beating my head against the wall for ungrateful humans. So well, I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll keep chatting. But okay. You're okay? We're going to be homeless together in Regina.
Hell yeah, man.
Fucking right, man. Adios. Adios, people.